Coming up, we'll recap the last Padres game, preview today's starting pitching matchup, give you our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Craig Stammen. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. As today, the Padres take on the St. Louis Cardinals in the final game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Cardinals, right-hander Kyle Leahy, and for the Padres, an opener, right-hander Bradley Rodriguez. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside our San Diego studios. First pitch coming up at 11:15 a.m. here on the West Coast. Coming up in the next 50 minutes. As always, we have a lot to do. You'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. We'll hear from Padres catcher Blake Hunt. We'll also hear from Tony Gwynn Jr. in just a few minutes. Our keys to today's game, a full look at the pitching situation for both these teams today as the Padres try to avoid a 3-game sweep at the hands of the Cardinals. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres enter today's game 37-35. They are 2-3 on this current road trip. They won 2 of 3 in Baltimore to begin the trip. Padres will head to Texas after this one, a 3-game series against the Rangers beginning on Friday. Cardinals continue to be a really good young team. They are 40-31 entering today. Cardinals entered this series losing 3 of their prior 4 games. Cardinals begin the day in the National League's top wild card spot. Padres now sitting a game out of a wild card spot in the NL. Padres using an opener for the second time in this series. This will be the 3rd time this season the Padres have used Bradley Rodriguez as an opener. Griffin Canning, it's his day in the rotation. He's expected to get bulk innings today out of the bullpen. Before we turn our full attention to this series finale, let's quickly rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Our starting pitching matchup last night, Michael King against Andre Palante, both righties delivering a scoreless opening frame. King ran into trouble in the second. He issued a leadoff walk to Lars Nootbaar. He was at second base with 2 men away for Blaze Jordan.
The 0-2 pitch, Jordan lines it over Bogarts into left center, a base hit. Nootbaar around third, he'll score as the ball finds the alley, rolls all the way to the base of the wall. Blaze Jordan an RBI double, and the Cardinals lead it 1-0.
Next up for the Cards, Nathan Church.
Cardinals. This pitch is lined to right field. Samad Taylor over towards the line, not going to get there, and that will get another run home. Jordan crosses the plate, an RBI single for the 9-hitter Nathan Church. The Redbirds lead it now 2-0.
Cardinals had an early 2-0 lead for a second straight game. A Cardinal starter was dealing. Andre Palante retiring the first 14 Padres batters of the game. Padres down 2-0 when Samad Taylor reached on an infield single with 2 outs in the top of the 5th. Taylor stole second. Ty France at the plate.
Taylor at second, 2 outs. The pitch is lined into center field. That's down to the base hit. Church is charging. Taylor's rounding third on his way. Here's the throw to the plate. Not in time. Now a throw down to second. The tag of France. He's out. Padres do get a run, but Ty France thrown out at second base by Herrera, and that will end the top of the 5th inning.
Padres trailing 3-1 in the 6th inning. Fernando Tatis Jr. reached base on a 2-out single. Jackson Merrill was next.
Not going on the first pitch. Merrill swings, sends it in the gap towards right center field. Church is going back. He's going to watch this one. Hits off the very base of the wall. Tatis is racing around third. He'll come in to score. An RBI double for Jackson Merrill. And a 1-run game here in the 6th.
So the Padres had the tying run in scoring position. Manny Machado struck out to end the inning. Palante went 7. Cardinals bullpen pitching 2 scoreless innings in relief, and that was it last night. Final score, Cardinals 3 and the Padres 2. And now the Padres trying to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Cardinals here today. Cardinals have already won the season series, and they're going for a sweep in their 41st win of the season on this Wednesday. As we get ready for first pitch coming up at 11:15, let's go out to the Lou.
let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Tony Gwynn Jr. in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Tony, no secret, the Padres offense has not been particularly productive so far in this series. So let me frame it this way. The question to you, has it been more about the Padres offense, or has it been more about what the Cardinals starting pitching has done?
I'd say the first night it was more what the Cardinals pitching did. The second night it was more the Padres offense. It's I don't think it's really a secret at this point. The Padres have struggled to handle the fastball, and when you go through the first two games, especially Dustin May's game, you look at his repertoire percentage over the course of the year. Both the four seam and the sinker were way up. Yes, in that game one, which means he identified the same thing that seems like the rest of the league has. And so I don't really know. I don't know what the answer is to changing that, but I would certainly say in the first two games of this series, the first game it was the Cardinals pitching. The second game, I think it was the Padres offense.
Well, let's focus on a positive of the last week or so for the Padres. That's the play of Samad Taylor. Padres move him up to second in the order today. Feels well-deserved. He's been very involved in the midst of an 8-game hit streak to this point. Tony, what's impressed you about what Samad Taylor has done since arriving?
He's just competing at the plate, man. I don't know that there's anything special that he's doing. I mean, yeah, he hit that homer to dead center the other day, which I think surprised a lot of people, but he's just finding ways, whether he's bunting or getting a base hit to get an inning starter, stealing a base or making a defensive play. He's just doing something positive, it seems like, every time he's involved. And I think the idea is, the Padres really only started to score offense, have some offensive success once he got things rolling. So I think the idea is to move him up there next to the other guy who's swinging the bat pretty well, and Toddy, and see if you can get, first and second or the first two guys on in an inning and kind of go from there. I think it's definitely well-deserved for Samad.
Yeah, Taylor, when he showed up, he said he wanted to be a spark plug, and it feels like he's been every bit of that so far, to his credit. Let's talk about the pitching situation today, Tony. Again, the Padres, for a second time in this series, utilizing an opener. Bradley Rodriguez will start. Third time he's done that this season. Griffin Canning scheduled to follow. Number one, what do you think the thinking is behind what the Padres are trying to do today once again? And also, how does Griffin Canning be more effective than he was in Baltimore his last time out?
I think they're thinking the same thing that they thought for Lucas Giolito. And I think the idea is the starters today, it's Canning, have struggled early in these ball games. They've extended themselves a lot of pitches, and so the idea is, I guess, to get through the top part, get through that first inning, and get through some of the tougher hitters. And then have, Griffin come in with a clean slate in the second inning or whatever it may be. And, I think this is kind of what the Padres have shifted to in order to try to get a little more length out of their starters. I think the drawback is, especially when you've had to do it multiple times in a series, now you're kind of getting into some arms that kind of have helped you back in wise. Bradley's been one of those guys that, come in the sixth, seventh inning if need be. But given the way these two games are gone, I think it makes sense today. The Padres bullpen's pretty well rested. Haven't had to use a lot of those back end guys. So hopefully this can kind of aid Griffin in getting a little more length in the start.
Tony, before I let you go, just to focus on the Cardinals as a team, I mean, it's been really impressive. We're about midway through the season. They have 40 wins. They have not showed signs of slowing down. This is a young team, but you kind of keep wondering when it might come back down to earth. And to this point, it has not. This is a pretty exciting young group, it seems like, in St. Louis.
It is. I think so. I don't know that I'm sold on their pitching.
Yeah.
I think obviously Dustin May has had that kind of, stuff for a long time, and you could see him kind of, growing into that role. But offensively, there's a lot of studs on their side, a lot of young guys that have kind of cut their teeth and all of a sudden starting to understand, what the big leagues is about and how to have success. Jordan Walker looks like he's going to be headed to an all-star game. You just got a lot of really good. Burleson's another one that's swinging the bat extremely well. They got the young guys who have joined the team this year in Weatherholt and Herrera. Some of these guys have been here for a little bit, but yeah, this team is. I think this team is going to be here. The question will be, does the front office see them as at the point where they want to make moves? My guess is no.
Yeah.
My guess is they're probably still a year away before the organization wants to start putting extra into it. But that's certainly a team that is going to be reckoned with throughout the course of the season.
Yeah, I think the Nationals are a similar team, right? They're young too, and they're playing well, and they're going to be faced with sort of the same question potentially next month. Tony, appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at 11:05 here on the West Coast. Thanks so much.
Take care, Sam.
All right, Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. First pitch coming up in just a little bit. We do have some news for you that just came down a few moments ago. Ron Marinaccio, you might remember, he was given a 3-game suspension by Major League Baseball a few days ago. That suspension has been reduced to 2 games, so he will begin serving that suspension today. Kevin Acey reporting this just moments ago from the San Diego Union Tribune. So again, Marinaccio's suspension reduced to 2 games, but he is going to start serving that suspension today. So the Padres will be down a reliever today and on Friday against the Rangers. And remember, they're already using a reliever at the very start of this game in Bradley Rodriguez, the opener. So that does make it a really interesting day bullpen-wise, as we were just discussing with Tony. And remember, Mason Miller is on the bereavement list. He was put on that bereavement/family medical leave list before the series started. Kyle Hart was recalled from AAA El Paso. So the Padres will be down a reliever and without Mason Miller today in St. Louis on a day they're using an opener. So has the potential to be a little bit of an interesting day with the Padres bullpen. We'll see how it all goes. Something that can cover up a lot of that, scoring a lot of runs and making it easier on your pitching staff. We'll see if the Padres can do that today in St. Louis. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. First pitch coming up at 11:15 a.m. in St. Louis. Our pregame coverage continues after this. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt chilling with you inside our San Diego studios as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 11:15 a.m. here on the West Coast from St. Louis. We send things out to Jesse and Tony in about 35 minutes as the Padres will try to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Cardinals today. Our pregame coverage is always brought to you by EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Visit EcoWaterSoCal.com or call 760-350-3338. Take a look at the Padres lineup today. We told you about Samad Taylor being moved up to the number 2 spot in the order today. Fernando Tatis Jr. leading off. He's in right field. Taylor in left field batting second. Jackson Merrill in center batting third. Manny Machado at third base batting cleanup. Gavin Sheets, the DH, batting fifth. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop batting sixth. Ty France at first base batting seventh. Will Wagner getting a start at second base batting eighth, and Rodolfo Duran back in there today, day game after a night game. He is batting ninth and doing the catching for the Padres today. Again, Bradley Rodriguez will open today's game, the opener, and then Griffin Canning will be expected to get some bulk innings his day in the rotation today. But the Padres trying to do something a little bit different with the opener, see if they can get a little bit more effectiveness and length out of a guy like Griffin Canning. As we get ready for the final game of this series, let's hear from Craig Stammen.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
Day game after a night game, so no formal pregame media availability for Craig Stammen today, but luckily Craig called into Ben and Woods about 2.5 hours ago. So let's revisit what Craig had to say earlier this morning right here on 97.3 The Fan. Here was Craig Stammen on using Bradley Rodriguez as an opener in this series finale.
To map it out as best we can ahead of time, and all those discussions are had throughout the week, and especially last night after we kind of know who was used in the game and who's available and what type of strategy we want to go through. But it's different. I think, that playoff game against the Cardinals, there's probably a lot of people that didn't want Craig Stammen to start that game. And you know what? It ended up working out well. So I don't want to say that people don't know what they're talking about, but there's a lot of things internally we know a little bit more than what's going on, outside. So it's not like we're just throwing stuff against the wall and see what happens. We've been very strategic with this, and you guys know AJ and Josh, and no detail gets left unturned in our front office and how we talk with them, with the coaching staff, and how we communicate it to the players. So there's a lot that goes into managing these openers and different strategies to try to get the best out of our group of pitchers. But there's hopefully there's a little bit of an omen, a game 3 with an opener against the Cardinals. I'm the manager. I feel like it's going to work out really well for us.
Well, no secret, the Padres offense has struggled overall this season and certainly the last couple of days in St. Louis. Here is Craig on how the clubhouse is feeling with the current offensive issues.
Yeah, they're doing fine. And I think one is we got a lot of experience in the room, and they know that a couple bad games doesn't make a bad season. And, we got an opportunity today to kind of salvage the series a little bit and go home, kind of keep this road trip, 500, and then try to win a series in Texas and make it a very positive road trip. So a lot of good stuff still ahead of us.
Here was Craig when he was asked by the guys this morning if he has considered a new voice for his hitters.
No, I don't think that makes no sense to me, in my opinion. I think the hitters are the ones taking that bats on the field. They've got to figure it out. We've got a veteran clubhouse. Those guys know what they've got to do to be able to hit. Our hitting coaches are doing a great job. They have worked their tails off. They're coming up with new ideas every day, new ways to say things. And so far, we just haven't found the correct formula. And it isn't anything like in the past when we have hitting. The message is very similar, has been very similar at times to that. And so I don't think it's the messaging nor the work that they're putting in. I think it's just we got to figure out a way to get it done in the game. And it's easier said than done, but that's the bottom line, is we got to be able to get it done. And when we're not getting it done, fine, we can answer those types of questions. But, I'm not one to, make adjustments this early in the season or this quickly. It's just not to that point.
Well, the Padres do have a little lineup change today. They did move Samad Taylor up to second in the lineup. Craig, though, was asked earlier today if he's given any thought to more drastic lineup changes.
Yeah, easier said than done behind a computer screen.
Right.
No doubt about that. But when you're seeing these guys every single day and looking them in the eye and telling these guys, how it's supposed to be done, how it's going to be done, this is the lineup, that makes it a little bit more difficult. Not saying that I'm not up for that, but do we know who Manny Machado is? Yes, we do. And I believe wholeheartedly he's going to come out of this. He's going to lead the way in the second half of the season, and he's going to dominate, and we're going to laugh at these conversations later. And he's going to hit in the middle of our lineup. Whoever's saying he should bat sixth, I just don't know what they're thinking. I believe in Manny. I believe in Xander. I believe in these guys, what they've done in the past, who they are as people, how they show up every day and lead our clubhouse. I believe in that, and I know that hitting them in the middle of the order is the right thing to do, and eventually they're going to break out.
And finally, here was Craig Stammen. He was asked what he would say to fans that are frustrated with the Padres' performance so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, I understand our fans are passionate, and, they care a lot about the Padres, and they support us, so very well when we're home at Petco Park, and even on the road. There's a ton of Padres fans here in St. Louis, so we're thankful for how much they care about us and care about our team and want us to win so bad. And honestly, the people that care the most are the people in this clubhouse and this locker room. We're the ones, you talk about frustration, we're living it every day. And the one thing that, for fans is these guys care about this immensely. And they go home thinking about it. They're thinking about it all day long. They're not just showing up and, la-di-da playing baseball and we'll see if we win today kind of thing. There's none of that going on. Our coaches are working every single day diligently trying to find that one little solution that might unlock some of our, perennial all-stars that are struggling right now, or unlock the offense in general together to be able to score some more runs. And we felt like we were kind of getting close to that in Baltimore and a little bit after the Cincinnati series. But, the Cardinals threw some good pitching at us here the last couple of days, and we just struggled and kind of put us back to square one. But, we got to keep sticking at it. It's about consistency through a major league season. Right now, we're not seeing the results of that consistency, but we've got to stick with it. Positive attitude's the only way out of it. We get negative, we start complaining, we start getting frustrated, it's just going to get worse.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen earlier today, right here on 97.3 The Fan. If you want to listen to that full interview from this morning, you can, of course, listen on 97.3thefansd.com, or it's always available for you on the free Odyssey app. We'll hear more from Craig on our post-game coverage coming up later on this afternoon. First pitch coming up at 11:15 a.m. in St. Louis. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to step up their game? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not. Presented by ASAP Drain Guys and Plumbing, a division of Anderson Commercial, your full-service plumber serving San Diego County.
We begin with a look at the hot category. Fernando Tatis Jr., his last 27 games, he's hitting .345. How about Samad Taylor? 8-game hit streak entering today's game, batting .379 in that span with a double, a home run, 8 RBIs, and 3 stolen bases. Take a look at a couple of guys in the not category. Both guys in the lineup today. Ty France is only 5 for 33 in the month of June. Xander Bogaerts 0 for his last 11. How about this? Since April 29th, a span of 40 games, Xander is hitting .172 with just 5 extra base hits in that span. And that's a quick look at who's hot, who's not, as we get you ready for this series finale. Now let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Let's take a look at some headlines here from last night and today. How about a look at the Washington Nationals? They've won 8 of their last 11, had a win yesterday against the Royals. They now sit in the National League's final wild card spot as of today. Again, a long way to go. But the Nationals do lead the majors in runs scored this year, winning again yesterday against Kansas City. Cal Raleigh returned to the Mariners last night after dealing with an oblique strain. He delivered a go-ahead 2-run single to propel the Mariners to a win against the Orioles yesterday. Tigers right-hander Justin Verlander is expected to start against the White Sox on Sunday in Detroit, where he has not pitched for the franchise since 2017. Verlander, right now the oldest active player in the major leagues at 43, was put on the IL with left hip inflammation back in April. In Verlander's only start of the season, the 3-time Cy Young Award winner and 2011 AL MVP gave up 5 runs and 6 hits in 3 2/3 innings in Arizona. And again, he'll make his second start of the year Sunday in Detroit. Couple of other notes on the out-of-town scoreboard today, and we'll have a full look at that scoreboard in just a little bit. Busy afternoon in Houston today. Casey Mize will come off the IL, speaking of the Tigers, for Detroit today as they play a matinee and a rubber game against the Astros. A little note there, and we actually have the game on one of the TVs here. Sorry, the match on one of the TVs here. Just less than 10 miles away from Daikin Park in Houston, you've got the World Cup going on. Portugal and the Democratic Republic of Congo meeting right now. Portugal, a 1-0 lead right now in the 41st minute, I believe. All right, little World Cup update for you there. Shohei Ohtani on the mound for the Dodgers today. They beat the Rays yesterday 1-0. Ohtani hitting a go-ahead home run in that game, and Ohtani back on the mound today. Sounds like he will not hit in today's game against the Rays. And finally, how about this? Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson of the world champion New York Knicks, they will throw out a ceremonial pitch in the Bronx on the eve of the Knicks championship parade tomorrow. So they'll throw out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium today. That's a major league headline, right? That's a look at some of the headlines from around the major leagues. Come on, I had to sneak it in there. You got Hart and Brunson. Finals MVP throwing out the first pitch at the Yankees game today. All right, we'll step aside. When we come back, we'll hear from a Padre we have not heard from yet. That is new Padre catcher Blake Hunt, who you thought maybe would make his major league debut today in the day game after the night game. It does not sound, well, it's not happening today in a starting capacity. Sounds like it'll probably happen at some point over the weekend in Texas, but we do hear from Blake Hunt. When we come back, we'll also give you our keys to the game and much, much more. First pitch coming up at 11:15 a.m. in St. Louis on the Padres Radio Network. Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. First pitch is coming up at 11:15 a.m. in St. Louis. Series finale between the Padres and Cardinals. We sent things out to Jesse and Tony at Busch Stadium in under 20 minutes. I realize on this Wednesday morning, I have not said Padres and pancakes once all morning long, and this is a Padres and pancakes. I think any broadcast that begins before 11 a.m. qualifies as Padres and pancakes. My goodness, what a snafu on my part. No Padres and pancakes for you so far. Well, as always, on the morning games, I like to have you reach out and tell us how you're getting ready to enjoy Padres baseball. I got an Instagram DM here at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Give me a follow. You can be one of my nearly 500,000 followers on Instagram. Wow, it's another thing I never do. Tell you how many followers. But here we go. Pat on Instagram sends me a photo and he says, doing some drywall work and listening to Padres and pancakes. So Pat, thank you for reminding me about Padres and pancakes. And how about that? He's putting up drywall and listening to the radio broadcast. Pat, I appreciate it. And as always, you can reach out on X or Instagram or TikTok at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Let me know how you're getting ready to enjoy this series finale against the St. Louis Cardinals. Let's give you today's injury report.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
But really nothing new to report. So let's just recap what we've seen so far on this road trip as far as injuries. Freddie Fermin left Saturday's game in Baltimore. He was put on the concussion IL. Blake Hunt was called up. When he appears, it will be his major league debut. We'll see if that happens today, potentially off the bench. Miguel Andujar went to the IL over the weekend, still dealing with that hamstring strain. Nick Solak called up for the Padres. He is available off the bench today as well. No real updates right now on Cronenworth and Camposano, more than what we already know, which is they're doing baseball activity. Same thing with Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta. Herman Marquez continuing his rehab assignment. Same thing with Matt Waldron. So as we get updates on those guys, as the week moves along, we will continue to pass it along. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, tell you what's going on around the big leagues on this Wednesday.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Well, we have a handful of games going on right now. The Mets leading the Reds 3-1 in Cincinnati in the fifth inning. Royals ahead of the Nationals 4-0 in D.C. in the third. Marlins lead the Phillies 6-2 in the second in Philadelphia. We have one game that will resume at at 11 a.m. Pacific time, so in about 10 minutes. That's a suspended game from yesterday, Giants and the Braves. That game in the second inning, Giants leading the Braves 3-2. They'll play their regularly scheduled game later on today at 4:15. Tigers and the Astros coming up at 11:10 in Houston. Rays and the Dodgers at 12:10 in L.A. Angels and the D-backs at 12:40 in Arizona. Blue Jays and the Red Sox at Fenway at 3:45. White Sox and the Yankees at 4:05 in New York. Guardians and the Brewers in Milwaukee at 4:40. Rockies and the Cubs in Chicago at 5:05. Orioles and the Mariners in Seattle at 6:40. And finally, Pirates and the A's in Sacramento later this evening at 6:40. That's a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll have much more on all those games coming up during our post-game coverage. Let's give you, or you know what? What do we want to do here? Blake Hunt. Before we get to our keys to today's game. Had to catch myself there. Blake Hunt, pretty interesting story. When he makes his major league debut, it will be, it'll be his debut, but it'll be sort of the culmination of an interesting journey. Remember, he was drafted by the Padres in the second round of the 2017 draft from Mater Dei High School. in Santa Ana. It's been a journey for Blake Hunt. He's spent time with the Padres organization, with the Rays, with the Orioles, with the Mariners. In fact, he was called up for a little bit with the Orioles, but never made his debut. He's back up with the Padres, and it sounds like he'll likely get some action over the course of the weekend in Texas. Pedro Gutierrez, Padres Spanish language radio broadcaster, caught up with Blake Hunt inside the Padres clubhouse.
Obviously very cool for me to be getting called back up here with the team that originally drafted me. Everybody in the clubhouse has been very welcoming. Lots of familiar faces from spring, so nothing too crazy, but just very happy to be here. Very blessed.
Well, they say nothing happens. Everything happens for a reason. We're in St. Louis, but you got the call up in Baltimore, where your previous MLB experience of one day in the majors on the roster was with the Orioles. Was a little bit of looking back at that moment and now having the second opportunity to come back to the majors?
I mean, definitely symbolic for sure. I got to see some of my buddies from across the field, but everything happened so fast that, again, really no expectations going in. I think it would have been probably a little bit more surreal if I had been debuting against the Padres, but either way, very cool.
In terms of this opportunity that you've been waiting for, it's been a long time coming. They say the path to the majors is a hard one. You've certainly had your opportunities to work yourself and get to this position. Just share a little bit of anticipation when that moment comes. Is it fulfilling a dream? Just share a little bit more anticipation of having that first time you get your name called up in a major league game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd have to start by saying, like, I don't have many expectations. I just have to trust that all of the work I've put in over the last 9 years and prior to being a professional baseball player has all been for this moment. Yeah, I don't really have much expectations. I think at the end of the day, as long as you're prepared for the moment, then there's no reason to be anxious or nervous, and you just trust in your preparation and your work. So that's kind of where I'm at mentally.
You made a reference towards spring training, knowing these guys from a couple of months ago. Just now that you get to work with these pitchers, we talked yesterday about having to do a bullpen session and work with pitchers that you're kind of familiar with, but now in this different environment, this different setting, just know how helpful it is knowing that you know these pitchers, know their weaknesses, their strengths, but now you get to execute with them on a major league level.
Yeah, I mean, I think in spring it was a main point of emphasis, even in light of the oblique injury, that I would be able to catch lots of pens, get eyes on all the guys, and make sure that we're doing everything necessary prior to the season to make sure that I have enough looks. And of course, a lot of these guys, even in spring, are not in full form. So just making sure I get touches on them, seeing what their secondary is looking like right now, mid-season, and honestly what's been working over the past month or so for each guy as they're tinkering and finding the best way to be the best version of themselves on the mound. So, I mean, that's plenty for me, and getting out and, like today, catching Randy in about 5-10 minutes and then seeing all the bullpen arms for touch and feels, it's all I can do.
And finally, you never want to see a teammate go down, but this is how opportunities in baseball happen all the time. Injuries are part of the game. No team escapes from them on a 162-game schedule, 6 months. Just knowing how grateful you are to have this opportunity to get back here to the majors, and obviously now with the opportunity to contribute also when your name is called on the field.
Oh, absolutely. Very cool experience. And like you said, you never want to see a teammate go down, especially with my experiences this year with injury. I know exactly what that's like. And basically coming off the IL 2 weeks ago, almost to the day, very surreal to just have it all happen so fast. But like I said, just have to be grateful for the opportunity, and whenever my name's called, be ready.
That was new Padres catcher Blake Hunt, along with Pedro Gutierrez earlier inside the Padres clubhouse. First pitch coming up at 11:15 in St. Louis. Let's give you our keys to today's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Rock and Block Turf and Hardscapes. Beautiful artificial turf that stays green all year long. Trust and experience. The job isn't done until it's done right. See them at rockandblocklandscape.com.
Well, look, there are a lot of days, most days on our pregame coverage where I give you all kinds of stuff on keys to the game. All kinds of numbers and tidbits and nuggets of info. I'm going to keep it real simple today because I think it deserves to be simple today. Key number 1, score more. The Padres have 2 runs on 5 hits in this series. That's it. It's the 7th time in Padres franchise history, and the first time since 2015 they've reached base 7 or fewer times in a 2-game span. They got to do more offensively. Bottom line, I don't care how it gets done. That's key number 1. Key number 2 falls in line with key number 1. Get to the starting pitcher. Monday, Dustin May, complete game 1 hitter. Tuesday, Andre Palante, 7 innings, 2 runs given up in their starts for the Cardinals. The Padres have had a major league high 35 quality starts thrown against them this season, 2 of them in this series. This should be, and we're going to get into it after the break, this should be a guy today in Kyle Leahy that the Padres should be able to do some damage against, hit a little bit. We'll see if they can do that. A very quick and easy keys to the game. When we come back, we dive deeper into today's pitching matchup, the situation for the Padres here today. Much, much more to do as we walk you up towards first pitch coming up at 11:15 on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. We got to go quick here. Let's tell you what to watch for in today's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
What to watch for in today's game? Can the Padres slow down the lefty bats in the Cardinals lineup? Alec Burleson is hitting .313 with 11 extra base hits, 17 RBIs during a career-long 16-game hitting streak entering today. Lars Nootbaar, he's hitting .270 with 2 home runs and 7 runs scored in 11 games since coming off the IL. So 2 left-handed hitters against some right-handed pitching today. You know, we're going to see from the Padres, can they deal with Burleson and Nootbaar effectively today? That's what to watch for. Speaking of pitching, let's dive in.
Let's break down how today's starters are shaping up with our starting pitching preview. Brought to you by Harrah's Resort Southern California and the First Down Sports Bar in Funner, California. Don't just watch the match, experience the glory. Head to Funner for every World Cup match to enjoy stadium-level energy and amazing specials at the best sports bar in SoCal.
On the mound for the Cardinals today, right-hander Kyle Leahy, 5-3 with a 4.64 ERA this season, 13 starts, 64 innings, 52 strikeouts, 25 walks. He's allowed 77 hits. Last start in Minnesota, 5 innings, 4 earned runs, 8 hits allowed. He faced the Padres in early May. He was good when 5 scoreless innings against him, gave up just 2 hits. Opening today's game for the Padres, right-hander Bradley Rodriguez. The 22-year-old's having a good year, 2.16 ERA in 30 appearances. This will be his 3rd time as an opener this season. Both times he retired the side in order in a single inning of work, so 2 perfect innings in the opener assignments for Rodriguez. He's been a little up and down lately. Last 5 appearances, 3 earned runs given up on 6 hits. He's allowed a run in 3 of those 5 appearances. Griffin Canning is expected to get the bulk innings today, follow Rodriguez. 8 starts, a 7.17 ERA. Last start in Baltimore was not particularly great. 5 innings, 7 earned runs given up, 6 hits, and he walked 5. His 3 starts prior were better, a 3.78 ERA. He faced the Cardinals in May. That was a tough outing for Griffin. 4 innings and a third, 6 earned runs given up on 7 hits. So we'll see if Griffin Canning can fare a little bit better against the St. Louis Cardinals here today. When we come back, we send things out to the Midwest, St. Louis, Missouri, Busch Stadium. Jesse Ackler, Tony Gwynn Jr. standing by, ready to go. They'll have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan in the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.